I just wish I hadn't gone to Galway first and foremost. That was a disaster. Everything that could go wrong went wrong, but that's racing, that's life. He's okay. He bumped his leg a couple of days after when he got back in his stable, which just to add insult really, but he's absolutely fine, and hopefully go for something like the international track he likes, you know, be a small field and let him enjoy it and sort of, you know, run well in a smaller field and give him some confidence after Galway. And then, you know, I thought he was going to be a progressive horse after the county hurdle, so hopefully we can pick up. He ran well the other day, and I can't do that much with him at home because he's a horse that's always overgiving. You can't start pressing him, otherwise you'll get problems. And you know, he ran really well for a long way. The winner was very fit and was always going to expose us for having 550 days off. I was a bit embarrassed that Harry got called into the steward's room afterwards. You know, why should he be called in after 550 days off when the horse clearly got tired? And you know, the ground is what it is. You can't go and gallop them on the grass and all that type of thing. Yeah, so I found that a bit irritating. But he will improve massively. And I was glad with the way he jumped. And you know, I think hopefully he can get back to those heights that he was at. But you know, there's a big tall ladder to climb to do so. A really talented horse. He wants another year of hurdles, we think, just to get him to mature physically and mentally and look after him, and you know, just make him into the best horse he can be when he goes novice chasing next year. So the plan is to run him at Aintree and then look at something like the Fixed Brush, or yeah, if he wins, you know, you can go for something like the Rail Keel, or you know, those types of races. But he's a really, really exciting novice chaser when we get around to that. I mean, he wouldn't want it ridiculously soft, that's for sure, but then I don't think many do nowadays. He's a very fast horse, jumps very quick. You know, a fast run race on decent ground is perfect for him. He just wasn't at his best when he ran the Swinton. He made a bad mistake down the back stretch that nobody saw. The camera angle was obscured, but yeah, he will go chasing at some point as well. But I'd like to start him off in the William Hill Handicap at the end of this month at Ascot, and then go from there. But he's on his day, he's exceptionally fast and exceptionally talented. So you just got to get it all together on the day.
Yeah, no, he'd had a break, hadn't he, before his good win? I mean, is
yeah.
that indicative of the ground?
I think those 2 milers have to be cherry ripe, cherry fresh, you know, and just ready to go out there and give their best on the day.
And you say you know he'll jump a fence in time.
He will.
I mean, is that you looking at the end of this season, or are we just going to?
Well, no, I mean, like if he went and ran at Ascot and finished 4th, and you give him another run in a hurdle and he finished 4th again, you might just have to go chasing in the spring, you know, because you're not handicapped to win anymore. But you got to use the evidence you've got rather than speculate too much, because you can speculate. At the end of the day, at the moment, we're speculating about 90% of the horses. You know, we'd like to think, well, we'll go here and ideally we'll win and then we'll go on to there, but it doesn't work like that. You know, at the moment it is speculation. He'll go to Cheltenham now on the Friday of the November meeting for a 25 grand novices chase over 2-4 and see where we go from there. Got to go left-handed, versatile regards ground, and it just gives his running, just wants to please you. How is he going to beat York Hill? Willie ain't going to make enough mistakes to get him beat. You know, you got to say, yeah, the JLT's the end of the season target, or maybe you don't and you go to Aintree and let York Hill and others go and have their race at Cheltenham and try and pick up at Aintree. Yeah, the reality is that if you get beat by them over hurdles, when you're dealing with the likes of Willie Mullins, Paul Nicholls, Nicky Henderson, and those guys, it's normally as hard to beat them over fences with the horse. You know, if you had the best horse over hurdles, it's normally the best one over fences. He's a very free type of horse. He's always, you know, if you want to trot, he wants to canter. If you want to canter, he wants to gallop, and that's his outlook, which is a great outlook. But he has got to calm it down a little bit. But he'll go straight to the Jerry Fielden. He obviously won at the meeting last year in a juvenile hurdle. I think he's an improved horse. I think he's a chaser for next year. But I do think he can win a nice handicap hurdle along the route. So a little bit like Born Survivor, you know, let him go and have another year learning, really.
Mr Miyagi, only defeat last year was in the Supreme Novices. And came back at Kempton the other day again in a pretty hot race.
Yeah, it was, and I think if you ran the race again, I think we could win it. Probably got the tactics all wrong. He is a hold-up horse, but he does stay 2.5. So you're stuck between a rock and a hard place there. What do? Do you ride him like a hold-up horse? And if they don't go quick enough, which they didn't, you might find yourself getting out sprinted. Or do you ride him second to third like we did, and use his stamina, but just be there to be shot at? And I think you're damned if you did and you're damned if you didn't on Sunday, and it's just one of those things. And what we'd like is someone mid-race to be able to kick on a little bit, and I think that'll come in some more races this season. I think he'll go to Aintree for the 2.5 mile conditions hurdle, and then look from there, really. He doesn't want to be running on bad ground. That's one thing he definitely does not want. But
you've got potentially, he's a talented herder.
Oh, very, yeah. I mean, look, you'll say, he got beaten in a listed race at Kempton. How's he going to run well in something like the Aintree hurdle? But I really think that type of race is right up his street. And he will be running there. That is, his whole season revolves around running well there. I'm not saying winning. Yeah, but his whole season revolves around running well in the Aintree hurdle.
And the last one I'd like to talk about is Virgilio, who has won twice over fences, looking good.
Yeah, he's a very good horse, and again, very, very genuine. You see from the Newton Abbott run how much he wants to please you. He puts everything in, jumps well, wouldn't want it really soft. Arguably a flat track is more up his street than an undulating one. And he'll go to the Rising Stars at Wincanton on the 5th, Elite Day, and he'd obviously have a massive chance. You got to think like Brother Ted, when they meet next time, Brother Ted, and they will meet they will meet at some point, whether it's in the Rising Stars or something. Brother Ted's going to get a penalty off him, and probably be a bit sharper and fitter for the run. So we've got to try and keep those at bay. He was ready for his run at Newton Abbott. There is a bit of improvement, but if the second was going to improve 5%, we were only going to improve 1%. Do you know what I mean? There's a big difference in how much each horse, I think, will improve watching the race. So I do think we're going to have to work hard to keep those wolves from the door. But if there was ever a horse that could, it'd be him, because he doesn't want to get beat.